Ricardo. Ricardo Ponsirenas, da Lauret Digital. Como está, Ricardo? Tudo bem?
Bom, como é que tá? Boa noite para todos aí.
Boa noite. Vamos falar da Lauret aqui. Obrigado pelo apoio, meu querido.
Abração.
Francisco
Orlando, boa noite. Aqui é Rodolfo. Tudo bem?
Ô, Rodolfo, tudo bem? Boa noite.
Boa noite. Estamos juntos aqui.
Obrigado, Rodolfo, pela presença.
Boa noite, Rodolfo.
Boa noite, Orlando. É o Hans, tudo bom?
Hans, tudo bem? Como é que você está? Tudo bom?
Tudo em ordem.
Seja bem-vindo.
Muito obrigado. Vou cortar.
Orlando, boa noite. É o Fabrício aqui.
Ô, Fabrício, como é que você está? Seja bem-vindo.
Bem, você?
Tudo bom? Paulo Bianino está com a gente também.
Boa noite, Orlando.
Boa noite. Tudo bom?
Boa noite a todos. Célio Bojola, boa noite a todos.
Fala, Célio, tudo bem?
Boa noite.
Célio Bozola, que é do nosso time de gestão aqui. Braço direito, seja bem-vindo, Célio.
Boa noite, Orlando. Eduardo Stevanato.
Boa noite, Edu. Como é que você está? Tudo bem?
Tudo ótimo. Boa noite a todos aí.
Marcelo Fernandes está com a gente.
Boa noite a todos, estou aqui, vou acompanhar uma parte, depois eu vou estar com vocês.
Está na maratona de lives, né, Marcelo?
Não, estou tentando ver como que vai ser essa questão de reabertura, né? Tentando ver aqui os protocolos. A gente está aí muito empenhado para ver se a gente consegue, junto aí com os órgãos, com o governo, com a prefeitura, agilizar a abertura. Então, estou aguardando aqui algumas coisas, mas estou aqui com vocês.
É isso aí, é isso aí. Muito bom. Agora vai, né, Marcelo? Agora vai. Tem que reabrir um pouquinho aí.
Não está assim, eu não estou vendo assim tão... Estou vendo que tem bastante coisa aí que está... Hoje o dia inteiro eu fiquei em cima disso, vendo as oportunidades e... O comunicado do prefeito também não ajudou muito. Mas vamos lá, nós vamos fazer acontecer. Em breve, se Deus quiser, vamos estar todos reunidos.
Márcio, Divi, conta com a gente. Vamos ver como é que a gente consegue unir
confuso, né?
Está confuso porque cada área está confuso, gente. Se eu explicar para vocês aqui, vou deixar vocês mais confusos ainda. A gente está tentando deixar a coisa... Tá um game, sabe? Parece um jogo de game mesmo, para ver quem vence. Até coloquei isso, gente. A gente não está aqui para vencer, todos têm que vencer e a política tem que ser única, né? Até coloquei o comparativo como está sendo em Portugal, que está sendo muito bom, porque foi uma coisa única para todos, né? No Algarve, no Porto, em Lisboa. Eu acho que aqui a gente também tem que ter mais ou menos esse direcionamento e essa transparência. Vamos ver. Boa. Mas fica o meu compromisso com vocês, que em breve, se Deus quiser, vou receber todos vocês, vão fazer um brinde muito especial de retomada.
Vai ser um prazer, vai ser um prazer. Pessoal, vamos...
Boa, Marcelo.
Já passamos... Opa, boa noite.
Parabéns para você, né? Vou aproveitar aí só para dar parabéns aí atrasado, mas felicidade.
Obrigado, irmão. Obrigado. 50. Comecei a segunda metade da vida agora.
É um jovem, é um jovem.
Vamos investir muito.
Em Orlando, é um jovenzinho, né? É um jovenzinho.
É um jovem, é um jovem.
Ele falou que vai pagar um jantar para todo mundo, viu?
Nós passamos
o jantar vai ser, esse é o detalhe, vai ser no máximo pago, obviamente, por mim, com o dinheiro que eu vou ganhar no BRN.
Aí.
Parabéns, foi rápido, foi rápido.
Obrigado,
bom, nós passamos uma marca de 100 pessoas, pessoal, quase 110 agora. Eu vou iniciar, com certeza alguns outros vão entrar um pouquinho depois. Eu vou iniciar, então, fazendo as boas-vindas aí. Antes disso, queria pedir para todo mundo agora colocar no mute, um minutinho aí, da atenção de todos. E eu queria passar as orientações, né? Eu vou... Craig and Dave, I'm sorry, I'm going to do in Portuguese this first part, okay? And then we will move to English with Robert Johnson. Então, orientações gerais, pessoal. Primeiro, por favor, deixe os microfones no mudo e a câmera de vídeo desligada, tá? Antes disso, né, boa noite a todos mais uma vez aí, obrigado. Para quem entrou agora, eu não dei boa noite ainda. Obrigado pela presença, estar aqui com a gente. A gente tem hoje a live com investidores anjos do Silicon Valley, moderada pelo Robert Jansen, e estamos passando agora as orientações gerais. Então, microfone no mudo, câmera desligada. Quando você for fazer uma pergunta, na verdade não é você que vai fazer, você vai mandar a pergunta e o Robert vai fazer a pergunta, aí a gente pede para você ligar o seu vídeo para que a gente veja com quem fez a pergunta. Né? Identificar, coloque seu nome, então, no Zoom, caso você não tenha feito, se puder, tem uns 3 pontinhos ali no Zoom, na janelinha do Zoom, você pode mudar o seu nome se precisar, algumas pessoas entram com o iPad, com o iPhone, com o smartphone, e aí a gente fica sem a identificação do nome. Então, se puder fazer isso, a gente agradece. Perguntas, pessoal, importantíssimo. Quero fazer uma pergunta, como eu faço? A gente vai ter um bom espaço para perguntas e respostas, um Q&A. A ideia é que seja interativo, que tenham boas perguntas. O Robert vai moderar isso. Então, para a gente organizar, como que você deve fazer? Envie a sua pergunta pelo chat do Zoom. Tá? No Zoom aqui, na ferramenta, tem um chatzinho. Vai lá, busca a pessoa BR Angel Gestão. Então, tem um usuário com esse nome, BR Angel Gestão. E mande e coloque a sua pergunta. Pode colocar em português mesmo, não tem problema. Se quiser colocar em inglês também, pode colocar. O nosso time de operações, Maurício, liderado pelo Maurício, vai passar essas perguntas para o Robert e o Robert vai passar para os nossos investidores anjos do Vale do Silício. Tá? Talvez algumas perguntas sejam, se tiver 1, 2, 3 perguntas parecidas, ele vai juntar isso numa pergunta só, então não se assuste se isso acontecer. Então, mais uma vez, usa aí o BR Angels Gestão, chat do Zoom, ok? No momento da pergunta, a gente pede que você, por favor, abra o seu vídeo, porque daí a gente sabe quem fez a pergunta. Né? A gente está gravando essa plenária já está sendo gravada, então depois todos receberão aí o vídeo dela. E caso tenha qualquer problema de estabilidade, não temos tido nenhum problema, mas caso aconteça, se tiver problema de estabilidade com a plataforma Zoom, a gente vai mudar para uma outra plataforma. Como que você fica sabendo, como que você recebe o endereço? Você vai receber por e-mail, tá? A gente vai enviar por e-mail o endereço da nova plataforma, caso dê qualquer problema de estabilidade nessa plataforma aqui. De novo, a gente não espera esse tipo de problema, ok? Agenda, a ideia é começar às 19h15, daqui a pouquinho, com um panorama de investimentos anjo pós-pandemia, moderado pelo Robert Jansen. Debate com convidados especiais, e aí entre os nossos 2 convidados do Vale do Silício, larga experiência, 19h25. 19h55, a gente inicia com Q&A, e aí temos até 20h25, mais ou menos, para um fechamento, tá bom? Nossa previsão, então, de finalizar o evento é 20h30 no máximo, a gente já está finalizando o evento. Queria passar, para quem não conhece muito bem ainda o BR Angels, o que é o BR Angels? O BR Angels é o grupo de investimento anjo, que tem aí mais de 50, agora 60 CEOs empresários. Tá? A gente atua com investimento anjo com um foco muito forte no smart, o capital intelectual. Esse é o principal diferencial desse grupo. São vários grandes empresários, empresárias, executivos e executivas e empreendedores e empreendedoras. A gente está no primeiro batch, o BR Angels nasceu no ano passado, no meio do ano passado. O foco desse primeiro batch é em startups e scale-ups já operacionais, já estejam faturando, que tenham seus primeiros clientes. E a gente está agora com a ideia de abrir um segundo batch em breve para startups pré-operacionais, né? Que seria o comecinho aí, o nascedouro das startups. Tickets de investimento, quanto que a gente investe nas startups nesse primeiro batch? Entre 500 mil e R$1,5 milhão. Esse é o valor que a gente coloca por startup, tem um processo rigoroso de seleção, de avaliação, para que esse investimento ocorra, mas o principal, além do dinheiro, além do investimento, obviamente, é o capital intelectual, como eu falei, que esse grupo pode aportar e tem aportado muito nas startups. Caso você queira mais informação, a gente faz uma série de eventos abertos para convidados como esse aqui. Entra no LinkedIn, é o melhor lugar, está aqui o endereço do LinkedIn, você procura BR Angels lá no LinkedIn. Entra no LinkedIn, segue o BR Angels, você vai receber as notícias, vai ver os convites, vai ver os flyers quando a gente tiver novos eventos e vai poder se cadastrar, tá bom? Pode nos seguir também no Instagram, o IG é o BR Angels _invest, tá bom? Então, já faz isso, se você não segue ainda, entra agora, passa a seguir e aí você vai receber informações daqui para frente do que a gente está fazendo. Já tem vários eventos aí no nosso line-up. Quero entrar em contato com o BR Angels, como é que eu faço? entre no www.brangels.global, no nosso website. Lá tem uma possibilidade de você mandar qualquer pergunta, qualquer informação para a gente, pode mandar por lá que chega no nosso time. Tá bom, pessoal? Com isso, eu queria agora falar um pouquinho dos nossos apoiadores, começando com a OBR.global, né, e a Angel Success Stories. A OBR.global é uma empresa de desenvolvimento empresarial internacional. Tá? Ela acelera startups e scale-ups com um foco global. Foi estabelecida em 2001, está presente no Brasil, Rio de Janeiro e Curitiba, nos Estados Unidos, no Vale do Silício e Texas, e na Europa, na Itália e Portugal. É uma das primeiras aceleradoras oficiais do programa do governo brasileiro, chamado Startup Brasil. Além de aceleração, a OBR trabalha com treinamento executivo em diversas dimensões de competitividade e ela auxilia as organizações a desenvolver suas jornadas. Queria agradecer demais ao OBR Global por esse patrocínio, por esse evento, e também queria agradecer a Angel Success Series, que é um programa executivo para investidores anjo, que atua com boas práticas adotadas, principalmente no Vale do Silício, que é o berço da inovação, né? Ele foi desenvolvido pela OBR com apoio da E2I Academy, e tem um programa que a gente já vai passar o teaser aqui, autorizado pelo pessoal, que vai estar disponível no segundo semestre, tá? Desse ano. Então, queria agradecer demais também a Angel Success Series, os dois patrocinadores que a gente tem aqui no evento. Queria agradecer a Abis Software, o nosso amigo presidido pelo Rodolfo, nosso amigo aqui. Obrigado, Abis, pelo apoio. Queria agradecer o apoio da LDG Advogados, que está sempre com a gente também. Meu Futuro Digital, que olha o futuro do Brasil, principalmente na parte profissional de tecnologia. E agradecer o Vamos Virar o Jogo também pelo apoio, que é um movimento belíssimo. Se você não aderiu, entre no website e inscreva-se no Vamos Virar o Jogo. É um movimento que dissemina boas práticas, principalmente nesse momento agora de pandemia, e já tem mais de 400 empresas envolvidas aí. Meu amigo César Souza, membro do BR Angels, Vitório Danese e Alexandre Bares, os idealizadores aí do Vamos Virar o Jogo. E queria agradecer especialmente, eu deixei por último, até para passar mais informações, a Laureate International Universities, que é um dos nossos apoiadores. O Ricardo, que está com a gente aqui, obrigado, Ricardo. A Laureate é reconhecida como uma escola de negócios moderna, dinâmica. Ela é integrante da Laureate International Universities, né? E a Business School São Paulo está posicionada entre as melhores do Brasil. Há mais de 20 anos, vem formando líderes inovadores com uma perspectiva internacional. Com bastante qualidade, está fazendo um trabalho belíssimo, muito interessado em inovação. Em breve, a gente vai divulgar, inclusive, detalhes sobre um curso de MBA online que a Business School São Paulo e o BR Angels aí estão discutindo. Não posso dar muitos detalhes, que a gente está aí no nascedouro disso, mas eu agradeço de antemão o Ricardo, que trouxe essa ideia para a gente está aqui discutindo os detalhes já na reta final aí. Ricardo, mais uma vez, meu muito obrigado. A todo o time da Laureate Digital, meu muito obrigado. E a Business School. Com isso, eu queria apresentar, né, aí em cima do horário, são 19h16, passei um minutinho, eu queria apresentar o nosso moderador, o Robert, e eu vou pedir para o Robert apresentar em seguida os nossos convidados do Vale do Silício. Tá? O Robert, ele é CEO da OBR.global e ele é membro do grupo Sand Hill Angels. Para quem não conhece, o Sand Hill Angels é um dos grupos anjos mais tradicionais do Vale do Silício. Ali tem muito conhecimento. Para a gente é uma honra ter o Robert aqui participando e sendo membro do grupo do Sand Hill. De fato, o Sand Hill é um ícone mundial quando a gente fala de investimento anjo. O Robert é um empreendedor em série, é investidor anjo com mais de 30 anos, vem investindo em negócios em áreas de TI, educação, saúde, segurança cibernética, energia. Ele tem muita experiência no mercado de capitais, tem muita experiência em venture capital e muita experiência, obviamente, em investimento anjo. Então, eu queria, mais uma vez, Robert, agradecer a sua presença aqui, agradecer a idealização dessa live. A gente discutiu isso alguns meses atrás, nasceu, né? Obrigado pelo convite dos investidores do Vale do Silício, Dave e Craig. E eu vou passar para você agora apresentá-los e dar continuidade ao nosso evento. Está com a gente aí, Robert?
Estou aqui, sim. Muito obrigado, Orlando. É um prazer estar aqui. Boa noite para todos. E a gente espera que a gente consiga entregar aquela mensagem que é dizer o seguinte: a crise tem que aproveitar, né? Porque é justamente na crise que aparecem as oportunidades. Então, eu acho que você vai compartilhar agora, quer dizer, eu vou poder compartilhar a minha apresentação, é isso?
É isso aí. Deixa eu interromper o meu compartilhamento. Pronto, acho que você já consegue daí.
Tá. Estão vendo a minha tela?
Ainda não?
Ok, minutinho só. Eu vou confirmar que está realmente aqui. Vamos de novo. Pois é, eu acho que você precisa me habilitar, viu, Orlando? Está configurado
então,
para que só o rosto. Então, enquanto isso, eu vou sem o slide, porque tem uma parte que é interessante. Eu acho que é sempre importante a gente dar origem e contexto. Primeiro, em termos de dinâmica, eu vou fazer a minha apresentação primeiro em português para vocês, a parte que me cabe, justamente que eu quero trazer contexto. E depois, no bate-bola com eles, eu vou fazer a consecutiva e bato bola português e inglês. Dave and Craig, I'm going to do my first part of the presentation in Portuguese, then I'll move on. It's the same presentation I showed yesterday that we agreed on. Então, enquanto já recebi aqui, Orlando?
Agora já deveria estar funcionando. Robert, tenta compartilhar agora. Aí, agora foi.
Agora foi. Pronto.
Okay. Ainda não tá aparecendo na tela, viu, Robert? Ele compartilhou, mas está uma tela em branco.
Uma tela em branco. Eita.
Tenta de novo, por favor.
Sim. Voltando aqui. Share. Acho que agora vai.
Aí, agora foi.
Agora foi.
Perfeito.
Então, um pouco contexto e origem que eu estava falando. Na verdade, eu atuo na área de internacionalização, talvez até por questão genética, né? Eu brinco que eu sou amerioca, mas na realidade um vira-lata, porque se for combinar avós e pais, eu tenho 5 nacionalidades diferentes. Então, o contexto internacional sempre esteve muito presente em toda a minha jornada e não podia deixar de convergir na minha jornada empresarial. E há muito tempo a gente faz, então, o foco global na internacionalização de empresas de base tecnológica. Então, rapidamente, vou dar um contexto de que nós somos empresarialmente, para depois trazer aí o contexto do Vale, que foi justamente onde eu fui criado na minha parte americana. A OBR tem 4 unidades de negócios, a internacionalização, aqui está mais presente nessa conversa de hoje, é a aceleração, a inovação corporativa e treinamento executivo. Na aceleração, a gente tem um time, tem aqui os principais parceiros e produtos que a gente atua. Aqui são já algumas startups do nosso portfólio atual. E aqui, desde 2014, quando a gente foi apontado nos primeiros aceleradores do Startup Brasil, são alguns dos nossos resultados. E eu vou depois compartilhar todo isso aí com o Orlando e o grupo de gestão do BR Angels para que vocês tenham essa informação. Eu estou trazendo aí o contexto de origem, né? Era muito importante a gente poder compartilhar algo do Vale que fosse raiz, que fosse realmente representativo do dia a dia, que a gente chama rubber on the road, né? E nesse ponto, quando você quer traduzir raiz, você traduz raiz do ponto de vista de execução. E o Craig tem aí uma jornada incrível, e eu só vou apresentá-lo aqui de forma genérica, porque depois vai ver um momento que eu vou passar a palavra para ele e ele vai poder se apresentar mais. Mas ele, há muito tempo, tem uma especialidade muito forte na gestão financeira. Ele traduziu isso em metodologias de due diligence para justamente early stage. Então, ele é um cara super procurado no Vale por os empreendedores que precisam fazer um relatório rapidamente de um due diligence ou pelos próprios investidores que querem uma due diligence com critério para saber se vão seguir nesse investimento. É uma especialidade fundamental no processo de avaliação, né? E o Dave, Dave Mosby, né, que é também empreendedor em série, né, nasceu lá dentro da NSA, e depois ele vai contar essa história, tem várias histórias para contar, mas ele tem justamente essa meta do give back dele está justamente em trazer maior informação, conhecimento de execução para a comunidade, tanto de empreendedores quanto de investidores anjos. No final, a jornada que a gente oferece é o que a gente chama de experiential knowledge, que é o conhecimento pela prática. Então, eu queria, como contexto, oferecer para vocês um background do Vale, para vocês entenderem quando eu trouxer o Dave e o Craig para falarem. Então, o Vale era isso aqui antes, né? Era um vale de orquídeas. E ele só veio a ficar assim depois que, há algum tempo, quando você teve a jornada, primeiro essas jornadas aqui, onde você tem o primeiro movimento tecnológico, mas foi aqui na Guerra Fria que foi a grande turbina. Já tinha a conexão do processo de grant money de governo para as universidades, que eram Stanford, Berkeley e San Jose State, que eram as três principais, né? E a Guerra Fria turbinou muito o Vale. E aí, isso aqui é uma visão aérea, para você ter uma visão de mapa, né? O sul da Bahia, onde é o Vale, bem ali no fundo da Bahia, e onde começou a construir as primeiras fábricas de semicondutores. Por quê? Era uma área livre, era aquela área de toda cheia de pomares e com um real estate barato, né? E não tinha, naquela época, dinheiro disponível, modelo de banco disponível que pudesse financiar a produção dessas fábricas de semicondutores. E foi que surgiu aí o Venture Capital. Tá? E o Venture Capital aí turbina o processo dos semicondutores, nasce em redes, nasce em computer, nasce em armazenamento, o HPC. Né? Alguém falando? Bem, continuando. Então, você tem aqui vai desenvolvendo pelas décadas, né? A partir dali você tem o Enterprise Software, a época de Oracle, SAP surgindo, e você vê que todos ficam para o lado dentro da Bahia, que é o lado onde tem mais real estate barato. Né? É por isso que tudo está clusterizado dessa forma. Né? Você vê que Facebook também fez, Google, Yahoo, aqui na década de 2000 começa, também em volta da Bahia, onde você tinha maior disponibilidade de terra mais barata, terra comercial. E agora, né, depois de 2000, você tem agora também o desenvolvimento da área de Life Sciences, que fica aqui ao sul do South San Francisco, e na área de Fremont, do lado da Bahia, que é onde está a Tesla, onde está a Solar City do nosso amigo Elon Musk. Né? Mas isso foi uma jornada que levou 6 décadas, né? Desde a época dos semicondutores, de 60, até agora a época de 2010, que você tem o Smart Enterprise. Mas na década de 2010, 2020, o que aconteceu em 6 décadas, aconteceu em uma. Esse é o ponto que eu quero mostrar aqui. Como tendência, cada vez mais mercados de empresas globais, o talento por competição extremamente acirrado, investimentos menores para validar o negócio, quer dizer, agora escalona um pouco mais a forma de investir para ver se o negócio progride mesmo. Estão surgindo diversos fundos internacionais, uma vez que a vocação agora é lançamento global, os fundos também têm que ter essa característica. E aí nasce um investimento mais cross-border, né? E o aumento considerável de investidores anjos. O próprio Craig vai falar da Queretsu Forum, que é uma franquia que está em mais de 60 países ao redor do planeta. O aumento das incubadoras, das aceleradoras, espaço coworking, e até que o mundo corporativo, né, entendeu que empreendedorismo e inovação, de maneira raiz que estava se fazendo, acaba se emprestando para poder fazer os avanços de inovação corporativa. Mudanças estruturais que estão acontecendo, o número absoluto de investidores está aumentando, e cada vez mais especializados. Cada vez mais se procura, obviamente, acreditar, que é uma coisa que eu parabenizo sempre o Orlando pelo BR Angels, porque esse especializado significa um investidor estratégico, um investidor smart, que eu vou justamente aproveitar meu legado corporativo, de jornada, de conhecimento, de cadeia de valor, e associar isso com capacidade de investimento em coisas novas que estão surgindo dentro dessa cadeia de valor. O acesso a capital está mais longo, a gente não tem ainda um efeito Covid totalmente mapeado, obviamente, é muito cedo, mas mesmo assim, a própria competitividade do mercado pela globalização estava criando um ciclo que estava aumentando agora. Né? O que levava 3 a 5 anos estava agora levando 5 a 7, dependendo de maturidade. E sempre existe aquela questão, não adianta você somente ter a competência, ter tudo os atributos necessários se você também não tiver um pouquinho de sorte e timing, né? Estar no lugar certo na hora certa. Os critérios investidores dos anjos no ZEUA, né? Então, normalmente, o que acontece? Ele não investe em startups que não estejam próximas dele. ele é muito smart como nós no BR Angels, né? Eu estou próximo porque eu conheço o mercado, conheço a cadeia de valor, tenho relacionamentos com todos os principais stakeholders, então eu tenho influência em gerar a aceleração positiva. O americano não vai ter isso fora do quintal dele. Então ele pede que tenha sede no ZEUA, tem equipe local. Né? Me pergunto muito na internacionalização, qual é a primeira coisa que eu faço quando eu chegar nos Estados Unidos com a minha empresa? Eu falei, contrata um cowboy texano com área de vendas. Né? Porque você quer o quê? Não quer ser uma empresa internacional lá. Você quer ser uma empresa local que, por acaso, tem lá fundadores do Brasil, Israel ou de qualquer outro lugar. Eles querem ver também que você tem a capacidade de gerar clientes dentro do mercado americano, né? Obviamente o mercado americano sendo o maior do planeta hoje. Né? E uma razão convincente, na realidade, é você ter realmente um problema, quer dizer, identificado um problema que é validado, que tem realmente conexão e convicção. O ajuste com foco de investimento e tamanho, cada vez mais bem calibrado. Aí volta um pouco o que eu falei antes, que é escalonamento. Em vez de botar tudo de uma vez, eu vou botar aqui com alguns milestones, e à medida que ele vai conquistando os milestones, eu vou fazendo esse aporte sequencial. Uma coisa que é o slide do Craig, né, que ele me emprestou, que é um estudo que tem feito aí, que é para uma organização de finanças que a qual ele participa, que é onde é o seguinte, né, se você for olhar nos últimos 25 anos, o early stage, o investimento anjo em startups, é o cabeça número 1. 32% de retorno, versus se você for olhar aqui o S&P 500, o Nasdaq, né, e mesmo os VCs. Né? Então, nós estamos dentro da esfera hoje que tem a maior capacidade de fazer a diferença, inclusive trazer o retorno. Aí mais um dado também, né, que hoje, comparativamente aos VCs, que seria a próxima etapa de um investimento anjo, sai do seed e vai para o VC, você tem aqui, normalmente, aqui, 7.700 empresas de venture capital, que foram startups que foram financiadas por venture capital. Né? E o First Time Ventures, o earning disso deu 13,2. Quando você compara com o que os investidores anjos fizeram, no mesmo período, 32,3. Hoje, você tem no mercado 12,5 milhões de accredited investors, que são aqueles investidores que, obviamente, têm lá as credenciais exigidas pela SEC, né? E desses 12,5 milhões, 309 mil são investidores anjos. Né? Normalmente, né, o VC sempre pega a maior parte da mídia, né, que pega o holofote, mas quem está fazendo a diferença mesmo somos nós, os investidores anjos. Tá? Bem, eu vou agora passar a palavra para o nosso amigo Craig. Craig, I'm going to give it to you now. I just gave him a small overview of what goes on, and now it's your turn. Craig?
Mute.
One more time.
Okay. There we go.
Thanks, Robert. I'm grateful to be invited and speak to the group. Robert and I have done a lot of work together over the past year, and he's become a mentor of mine, and he's taught me how to be just as good as he is. So yeah, you showed some slides there. It was great to go through the history of Silicon Valley. That's always fun. You know, you live in the middle of an exciting, memorable place like this where they're just creating so much. And my office window looks out on the building for Zoom. So we're using Zoom here, and I look at the headquarters home office building out my office. All around my office are all the big companies that you mentioned. Quite an exciting place to be. But when you live in it, it becomes kind of central. Anyway, slide. Let's get into what I like talking about. Turn the slide here, Robert. Yeah. So this is a topic I get to talk about a lot. Slide. My wife and I run financial planning group that's registered as an investment advisor. So we're regulated as a fiduciary. We are fee only. We cannot receive a commission. But for today's topic, we're going to talk about a couple of funds that I've set up for my clients to invest in alternatives. One of them is into real estate and angel investments. Slide. So the alternative income makes loans to people or businesses, so we won't talk about that. We're just going to talk about what we call the FWCG Opportunity Fund, because it's growth-oriented, equity-focused. Peggy and I get to co-invest with our clients into some 45, 50 different real estate addresses. And we've made 33 angel investments so far. 2 exits were 6-to-1 returns apiece, interestingly enough. 11 have disappeared, and the rest are in the middle of being hugely successful or not. It was real exciting this morning to get a letter and email from one of my portfolio companies inviting me to participate. CEO has achieved multiple milestones over the past 2.5 years with our money and is now ready to sell. He wants me to help him value the company, set up buyers, update their due diligence. So slide, Robert. Good. So I'll declare that angels are in a rarefied air. You don't just find them walking around the street. You can't go knocking on the door of your neighborhood and find angel investors. As a group, I see them as decision makers. I see them willing to invest their money, and the prudent diversify. Slide. So the reason your neighbors don't invest as angels probably is because they consider what we do gambling, but that is exactly the opposite of what a serious angel should be performing at. With good due diligence and good knowledge and good background, they can make money. Slide. So you just saw some returns. Those were put together. Previous page that Robert showed was put together by Matthew Lemerle, Keiretsu Angel Investment, Keiretsu Angel member who wrote a book called Fifth Era. I encourage you to read the book. Matthew's given me permission to use his material. He's got a different source than this one. Keiretsu Foundation is an investment group, a research group for startup businesses now worldwide. And they guesstimate that angels are making 2.7x in less than 4 years. That's about it works out to about a 27-30% IRR. However, Kaufman says that if you want to just get a return of principal, this is a highly risky business. You need probably 10 to 12 investments. If you want to hit the unicorn, you probably need 40 or more, maybe 50 or more. So in between that 10 and 12 and 40 investments are where the rest of us are making our 27% IRR or annualized geometric rate of return. Importantly, Kaufman says that you have to perform due diligence on every deal, just as if it's the last one. In other words, you can't just throw your money at 30 deals and expect to make a profit. Robert, the next slide. So what is it that makes us angel investors? First of all, we've got wealth. We've got experience. I'm willing to give it back, so that's why part of why I'm in it. When you make investments, are you looking for just the most acceptable returns? And are you looking for a return on investment, 2x, 4x, 10x, 40x, or are you looking for a geometric annualized return? What's more important, the people, the revenue? Do you demand that the business has revenue before you'll make an investment? Is the product more important than the IP or vice versa? And how do you get satisfied with the valuation of the firm? So I'll tell you what I am. Back up just one more slide. Thanks, Robert. That was very, very insightful. Going to conclude this slide first. So I'm a seed level investor, which means I go in mostly pre-revenue. I consider the people extremely important. I'm looking for the best jockey, looking for a product that's innovative and can disrupt the business model. For for IP and valuation, I consider those of less importance. But most important, I want to be a part of the advisory group. That's where I get my fun. That's where I share my expertise. Robert.
Yes.
Please turn the slide. Good. So as angels, we look at the entrepreneur as a CEO. We have certain expectations of that level. But the entrepreneur has a different image of what they want to present to us. Many times she wants to present the deal to us, and that includes her company or product, what she's doing. Slide, please. That doesn't always resonate with us. It's difficult for us to understand what she's saying. Her story just doesn't resonate with us always. But I want to caution you to look deeper, because this is an entrepreneur who created a deal in her image, her mind, and not ours. Slide. So it's in that due diligence where we're able to find the risks that we're concerned about and make sure that they're covered by the business plan. Slide. So the process of due diligence is what I consider one of the most important things that we do prior to writing a check. The due diligence is where we get to use our wisdom, skill, experience, and identify all the risks that we can on each deal. And then we make sure that the entrepreneur has written a business plan where she has identified those risks and shown how she's going to solve those risks. If we like what we hear, we're going to write a check. And it's then that the entrepreneur takes her product or idea out to the public to sell it. And the public's going to tell us all the risks that we missed. Or maybe we knew them, but now all of a sudden they become the important part of our business plan. At this point, we're dependent upon the entrepreneur to identify those risks and solve them before she runs out of my money. Slide, please. So what is it that makes the deal successful? Is it the environment that it sits in, the business environment, the people, or the product? I have sat in audiences hearing pitches, and the angel next to me leans over and says, this is a terrible deal, never get off the ground. And I want to turn to him and say, then maybe you would have been the one to invest in the Pet Rock then, if any of you remember that. So, you know, people are important. Certainly people like Bill Gates would have ended up pretty successful, even if IBM had not been lucky enough to step into that circle with IBM and have them choose his OS for their PC. So it's a combination of all that we're looking at inside that company, the people, the product, the environment, the IP, the financials. There isn't any one single product to me that stands out. And after I write my check, I hope that there's just a whole bunch of luck coming our way. Slide, please. So it doesn't matter. I've been on dozens and dozens and dozens of volunteer due diligence teams, and each one of them produces a new idea, a new risk, a new thought for me to consider. And when I compare it to the business plan that the CEO has written, is when I can put that risk to bed, when I can feel comfortable about the type of risk that I'm looking at. Slide. I'm hoping that after I've written my check, that whatever happens is not a surprise. It might be validation of my due diligence that I was able to identify all the risks. We just didn't know how to write the business plan to solve those risks when it fails. But when it's successful, I get to go, hooray, we did it, we did it. Slide, please. I consider myself real lucky to be a part of an opportunity to go shoulder to shoulder with other angels and participate at a meaningful level with the most creative people, most brave people in the world, entrepreneurs starting a business. And slide, please. What I consider is that I'm in the most wonderful business in the world. I'm working with dreams, creating new worlds and new realities. People live around what we create. Robert?
Thank you very much, Craig.
Sure.
So now I'm going to pass on to Dave Mosby. Dave?
Now I'm here.
Now you're there. Okay.
Now I'm here. So thank you, Craig and Robert, both. This is a delightful opportunity to visit a community of people that are part of the ones that I love very much. I was speaking with Georgia a little while ago and relating a story about being an entrepreneur as a youngster. And you can chat with her about what that story was, but I want to go ahead and let's get started, because what we as a group are going to be launching in the end of June is a learning program specifically for targeting angel investors. So we're going to be talking about some more of that today. So next slide, Robert. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today was this notion of Silicon Valley mindset. And to be able to be clear about this, I build on what Craig has brought to the table and say that angel investment is a direct personal purchase of an equity interest in a privately held enterprise. So I've started a business, of which I've started 7. I've started them from ground up. I have been, in some sense, my angel investor and recruited $7 million from other angel investors. I led a public company through 25x market cap growth. So I've been right in the middle of this. And over the last 7 or 8 years, I've worked with Craig and lots of other investors to help educate entrepreneurs to the issues that face Craig. It's 10 years? 10 years? Wow. How time flies when you're having fun. So angel investment is where I pull out my wallet and I write a check to Robert or to Craig or to one of you or but I got some big issues that I have to grapple with before I'm going to be ready to do that. So next slide. So one of the things that we hear about all the time is, what do I have to do to be able to raise capital? And one of the things that we oftentimes, or that many entrepreneurs don't think about, but that we as investors must listen for, is the answer to a really big question. And that question is, what is the likelihood that by investing with this new company, I'm going to get my capital back? And so that process of due diligence that Craig has spoken so eloquently to is one of the things that entrepreneurs need to be prepared to do. But first off, they need to be able to get prepared to have a good answer to that likelihood question. That's a probability, it's not a certainty. So what we need to be able to do as investors is to hear answers to that are going to give me the answer to that question. So that one right there. So that likelihood should be the giant word on this slide. How do I determine the likelihood? So next slide. There we go. Thanks, Robert. So an angel investor's big question is slightly different based upon the things that Craig has just told us. It's how can I increase the likelihood that my investments are going to return my capital at a multiple that's okay with me? Because angel investors do that. They make investments not just because of the economic return, but because of other returns and their ability to participate. Now, one of the things I've shared with my wife is that my wife is a psychologist. And so she thinks about that kind of stuff all the time. And she says, why do you do what it is that you do? And the answer to that question is every day I get an opportunity to work with people who are pathological optimists. They're people who believe that a new future is better and that new future is actually possible, and they're committed to making it happen. Our job as investors is finding the people who have the wherewithal to be able to actually make that happen. Next slide. So it's not just that, it's one of the questions that we have to grapple with, because if we have a target outcome, that's always going to be based upon the economic growth of our investment. Now, sometimes our demands are very high, sometimes they're not. But I need to have some mechanism for understanding, how is this business growing? What's the business worth now? Because one of the benefits of being an early stage investor is I get to buy an equity position today at a price before it has become highly valued by other investors. That's why I want to be an angel investor, is because I can get in when the price is way low before other people have identified the value that's inherent in that business. But then again, I say, how do I go about determining that? Well, there's lots of ways. One is comparatives. Look at other businesses in that have the same attributes or characteristics, but in a different space. Let me give you an example. One of the businesses in my history was a league management for amateur sports. Now in Brazil, football is what we in the US call soccer, is that's one of the leading places of time that people invest their time in and entertainment resources. So having tools that help amateur sports, particularly soccer, hockey, basketball, and the like, was an opportunity to create that value growth, and it did. So that's one way. Another is that's comparatives. Another is, what's the revenue stream likely to be? And that's where some value comes into play. And comparing those amongst alternatives is really important. But what will it be worth in the future plays into the valuation process as well. So how do you figure out what something is going to be worth at some future date in uncertain circumstances? And this is right smack in the middle of where we find ourselves today, right now. We're facing a greater degree of uncertainty that we know about today than we have for many years. Back in early 1990s or late 1990s, as the run-up to the dot-com boom was happening, there was high degree of uncertainty, and that uncertainty, but elevated expectations, created an explosive valuation circumstance. So that's before the economic crisis of 2007, 8, 9, and 10 created opportunities that were unique because of the upset that was prevalent at that time. And today we're facing another opportunity. So those of you who are very clever about understanding what are the likely outcomes from this COVID virus experience will have an opportunity to profit because of the virus, not from the virus. And so that's where the growth opportunities are going to be. Next slide. So as you are listening, as I'm listening to entrepreneur present in the first stage, what I'm going to be listening for is, I want to be able to see it. They need to be able to somehow get my attention and then translate that attention into its interest. So not only do I see the investment opportunity, but I like the investment opportunity. Maybe I like the investment opportunity because of the product or the market or the person leading it, but those levels of interest can be different, but they all apply to that same learning process. And then I've got to become convinced that I believe in this investment opportunity. One of the hardest things for me as an investor is to avoid getting caught up in the enthusiasm of some transient, sparkly thing. So it looks really cool, but there isn't any foundation below it. Then I need to be able to hear a story from my entrepreneurs. Oh, okay, I want it, and then I want to buy into it. That's the 5 steps of engagement that all of us have to go through. Sometimes we do it in an orderly way, and sometimes it's higgledy-piggledy. But it is the investment opportunity that needs to get our attention, interest, get us convinced that it's going to fly, and get a desire to participate, and then actually write a check. Next slide, Robert. So in this Angel Success Series that Robert has helped pull together, over a 9-week period, we're going to have an online program that begins on June 30th, and we're going to take a deep dive into all of the topics that I've identified and that Craig has brought to mind and that Robert has revealed. So coming from a Silicon Valley perspective, based upon activities that have been proven, it allows you to shift the risk focus from your practices to the businesses that you're evaluating. I hope that you have all found this helpful. You can find me through Robert anytime you want. And if you go to e2i.academy and watch the video, you can see some of what we're going to be doing. So I look forward to all your questions when we get this wrapped up. Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to chatting with you. Thanks. I'm done. And Robert's on mute. You have so Robert, take yourself off mute. There.
Yeah. Okay,
now you're back.
Yeah, no, say, I was not in control. Anyways.
I'm out of control. God is under control. Is God.
Yes. I hope that was just a helpful, quick view of what we're pulling together for the benefit of everybody on this call and anybody else that you can pull into the community.
So Dave and Craig,
yes, sir.
We have a few questions already. And what I like to do is field them.
Howard.
Yes, Orlando.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Just a second.
Sure. Yes. You're the host.
Thanks, Dave, and thanks, Craig. So, pessoal, vou falar em português aqui, ficar mais fácil para todos. Primeiro, obrigado pela presença de todos. A gente continua com o mesmo público, tá muito bom. A gente vai tirar uma foto agora. Eu queria fazer esse, assim, 1 minuto de time aqui. And Dave and Craig, we are going to take a picture. So I'm going to ask you to ask everyone to open the video. Por favor, abram os vídeos e vamos tirar uma foto com todos juntos. Se você puder abrir o vídeo, obviamente, né? Se você não puder, não abre. A gente entende, não tem problema. Todos aí, olha aí, todo mundo sorrindo, arrumando o cabelo. Vamos lá. E aí os nossos amigos aqui. Olha aí o Marcelo Munerato, que frio, hein, Marcelão? São Roque? Caramba, tá...
Meu amigo não tá mole aqui não, Orlando. It's cold as hell. Não, but you know what? I'm ready for the picture.
Pode fazer um joinha, pode dar tchau, etc. A hora que terminar, o pessoal avisa a gente aqui que já terminou, tá bom? Faz o seu melhor look para foto aí em live, porque tem um look para foto em live, né, que é diferente. Marcelo não vai sair, Marcelo, desse jeito aí. Você tem que... Isso aí.
Agora foi.
Então, Marcelão.
Here we go.
Boa.
Pronto? Sim.
Pronto. Temos todo Desculpa a interrupção. Desculpa a interrupção. A gente volta agora para as perguntas. E aí, novamente, pessoal, já temos Acho que 7, 8 perguntas. Quem tiver mais perguntas, envia aqui no Zoom, no BR Angels Gestão, que isso vai chegar até o Robert e ele vai consolidar para a gente. Robert, de volta para você aí. Obrigado.
Então, eu vou aproveitar que a gente está no Picture Break, né? E vou responder uma primeira pergunta que foi a engraçada, que perguntaram se investidor anjo precisa usar boné. So, I'm starting Dave and Craig with the first question, which is a kind of an odd, playful question, where the guy is asking if angel investors require to wear a baseball cap. And I'm going to respond them to in Portuguese, which both of you already know the answer because I told you this story before. I know I told Craig. There you go. No meu caso, na realidade, se tratou de um processo de defesa de choque térmico entre avião, entrada e saída de avião com muita frequência. Eu raspo a cabeça e aí esse choque térmico interferia. Aí eu descobri que eu fiquei confortável, aí descobri que no Rio de Janeiro eu protejo a cabeça de poluição, porque a unha sai suja. E no quarto eu descobri também que todo mundo reconhece, é o cara do boné. Então ficou fácil de me achar. Então tem 4 motivos aí com relação do boné. Vamos lá. So Dave and Craig, I told them the story about my baseball cap.
Yeah, but it's got nothing to do with why I wear it. I wear it just because I'm a good mentor of yours, and you've told me how to emulate you, so you know.
Well, you should say mentee.
So,
and besides that, there's only a couple people on these in these pictures that have got any hair. So you know, it's.
Well, how do you know it's hair? It could be wigs. Anyways, I got a question from Jose. I got 5 questions from Jose Bosco. If Jose Bosco would kindly raise his hand. So Jose Bosco, and I'm going to ask to both of you, and perhaps we want a couple of short answers all the way through 5 questions, so we can make time for the other questions we have. So,
okay.
To any of the participants, so to Dave and Craig, what was a major mistake you have done in a deal in your life as an investor? And what was the life learning lesson from that episode?
Oh, the failures that I've had have been unidentified in due diligence. The biggest disappointing failures were unidentified in due diligence. The most obvious one was that I invested in a mid-level corporate executive who looked good, felt good, talked good, but couldn't be good. And never could run the company. He never got to that level of management.
People.
Yes.
Right? People assessment. Dave?
So my story is very similar. I hired a sales guy that had an excellent performance pedigree from working for a very large electronics company. And I was inviting him to sell one of the first software as a service products. And whenever he got to sending out a letter to somebody, an email or a letter or he looked for a department to create it. There was only 4 of us. He was the department and he couldn't do it. But he had been very successful in an environment where he had all of those resources.
Okay. Second question is pretty good because we did discuss about this. Before I go to it, let me just share my view on this as well. And I'm going to share my view as an accelerator. So I've been going international with consolidated Brazilian technology companies. And when they go outside, they're just like a startup. They have to start all over again, market fit, product fit. And I thought the model in which we applied for those organizations could be the same for startups. As soon as we became a startup accelerator in 2014. And we were a team of 7 executives like BR Angels, everyone with a different hat, with executive experience and multinationals, corporations, and so forth. And I thought those 7 guys could be the 7 professionals, like that old movie with Steve McQueen, right? And we could take care of all business. And my biggest mistake was understanding that mentoring is a key component for those startups to actually achieve results. And mentoring has to be diverse and profound, deep. You need several different hats of mentors, and you need also mentors that can go for the journey and follow through. So that was our biggest mistake. Anyways, going now, second question. So we've been talking about post-COVID. Actually, I want to share with everyone, I call COVID-19 Coronami. And why do I call it Coronami? Well, tsunami, what does a tsunami do? And the first it hits, it devastates, it swipes everything in front of it. Second, we are very sad because of loss of life and loss of physical assets. But third, and the only thing we have left with is to rebuild, and to rebuild something new, to build something that's not there, that could not be there before because it cannot be perceived. So the Coronami effect really is the opportunity to see that right now in this gap of what means that the old model does not work anymore and the new model has not really found its fit. But so these are where the opportunities rise. So having said that, the question that I want to lead to, Dave and Craig, is they want to understand, okay, things are going to be different somehow, somewhere in the post-COVID. But what will still be the same? And we talked about this before.
Yeah, let me start. Dave, thanks for letting me talk. Thanks. Yeah.
Yes.
This time I talk first.
Okay.
So COVID has changed a whole lot of things, and coming out of it, there's going to be a new direction and a new way to do things. I agree to that. However, the standard formats are going to be all the same. I'm going to make a prediction that a couple of things will stand out as different. Prices in the Silicon Valley 15 years ago when I got started were $1 million seed level. Today, they're $3 to $5 million. I think that's going to drop a lot. And I think people that are going to come out of this event are going to be outstanding, just stupendous kind of people. They will need to be to stand out from a what I'll call a pretty dull crowd, and things like and they're going to need some help. The angel is where they get the start. The angel is who teaches them how to do the things they otherwise can't do or won't do, and need some help with. We're the adult in the room. In this valley, we call ourselves the adult in the room.
Dave?
So I think that there's going to be some structural adoption of some of the changes that we have experienced. And so the thing that I see, or I'm looking towards right now, is things that fundamentally transform value stream. There's one of the companies that I'm working with is bringing to market merchandising devices for e-commerce. So the things that we have gotten used to when we go to the store, as stores are being replaced by e-commerce, there's no equivalent to merchandising devices. You know, the little things that get your attention on the shelves, or end caps, or bonuses. Those things have no place today in e-commerce platforms. That is changing very, very rapidly. So things like that, things that we now routinely go do online stuff that we didn't used to do, like this meeting. Do you know how much it would have cost to have this meeting if we weren't doing it the way we are? We'd be looking at $500,000 just to get all the people in the same room.
Yeah. So, but Dave, let me get back here, because Joseph Bosco's question is, he wants to know what really is going to remain the same. And I
which ones are going? So
what's going to remain? Go ahead. All right. Go ahead,
so what I see as the things that are going to remain the same is that our human beings' need for community will remain the same. How that gets executed, as we can see in the moment, is going to become radically different. And Zoom isn't the only example.
Yeah, I would venture to say, from the investment standpoint, I guess the parameters that you apply, especially in due diligence, like Craig mentions, will remain the same. You're just going to tweak them harder. The bar is going to go higher, right?
Yes.
And the competition for money is also going to be greater. We are going to all be looking for the ones that we really have more confidence that they will be able to execute.
I believe that to be true.
Point out, one of the key things, what I call the Silicon Valley mindset, is because down in Silicon Valley, everyone hits the ground running. Everyone is focused immediately in execution. So let's go to the third question.
Okay.
So do you believe that the business multiples that we saw in 2019 will come back as things calm down? Will the risk capital return from the winter hungrier?
Yes. Yes. So in my business, we watch flows of money. So there's a huge amount of cash sitting on the sidelines. The good news is there's a huge amount of cash sitting on the sidelines. The bad news is when it comes back, all this money is going to be looking for a place to go, and they're going to drive up prices. I'll suggest that's at the VC level. The slides that Robert showed earlier out of the fifth era revealed that the angels are getting all the profits and the VCs are spending all the money. Huge dollar volume and lower return. And the reason they're getting a lower return is a number of things, but one is that they're overpaying. So all this money is going to come into the marketplace and it'll drive up the prices. So the discrepancy between the VC prices and the angel prices is going to start out big, as I'd suggested. I think the angels seed level investment price valuations are going to be much lower starting out after this epidemic, and then then it will rise to start to meet the VC pricing, and that's what happened here previously.
Dave, want to take a crack at it?
So I go right along with Craig.
Okay.
So it's kind of unfair, but you know, if you just look at the resources available and the requirements, so what's the likelihood that I'm going to get my money back at a multiple that's okay with me? The variety of choices is going to expand hugely, I believe. The variety of choices to put my money is going to go up, but the burden of performance on me to make good decisions is going to go up at the same time. So I have to bring more consistent practices. What Craig teaches about due diligence is most of us do a really bad job of due diligence on the house we just bought. Well, how do we validate the claims of an entrepreneur? How do we validate that they actually have the capacity to perform in a way that they represent? That's going to be harder. But I think we're going to have lots more options, and the whole the burden of performance to make good investment decisions is going to get tougher.
Okay, second, I got one more question. I got two from Jose Bosco. I'm going to combine them both. So how do you see the global investment? How does the global investing community see the Brazilian market? And how do we see if the environment for startup funding in Brazil is perceived too unstable because of political unrest?
Let me.
Go ahead, Craig,
Dave,
please.
Go ahead, Craig.
Dave, I'll lead this only because it's a habit now. So
that's a habit I'm cooperating with.
I have been unable to force myself to make an international investment in equity, private capital overseas, real estate or angel investment. And the reason is currency risk exchange. I'm unable to solve that problem economically or the risk in my mind. And so I don't think that the CCP virus is a cause for me to change that mood yet. I'll suggest there's more volatility in currency exchange risk right at the moment because of the CCP virus. And how we come out the other side, I don't know. You can hear my confusion about that topic.
Yeah, yes, okay. Dave?
I did. I got quite a learning experience doing foreign exchange stuff with Citibank. And that foreign exchange risk is something, whether it's real or perceived, and I kind of equate the two anyway. If it's perceived, it's real. The foreign exchange risk is a huge deterrent for international businesses, even ones that are successful, like Citibank. They were grappling with the risks every day, but they were able to deal with them at such a large level, in a large, huge scale, they could mitigate their risks because of cross-currency strategies. In the same way that oil cartel and drug cartel are grappling with problems the same way.
Yeah, what we see, that I see in the Valley at least, is there is willingness to invest in international opportunities as long as they're committed to the U.S. market. Because then I can be part of that venture and influence that part of it inside the United States. And because the United States is probably the biggest market share for the company anyways. But that's what we find. We had this up on a slide before, that most angel investors, they will only invest in foreign opportunities if those foreign opportunities are targeting the U.S. market. So, although I gotta say, there is a person that I in touch with at Sandhill, Alicia Castillo. She has built a fund that's focused now to actually bridge that gap and have monies coming from California, from Silicon Valley, into the South America region. So let me go now to a question by Orlando. If you had to select one thing, what would be your advice for executive CEO become an angel investor? So what's the silver bullet advice for someone who is an executive CEO to become an angel investor? What's the first thing you tell them to do?
And so I'm one of those. And my suggestion is to find somebody to help.
Whoa. Well, that one. Yeah, hire a fee-only financial planner who's experienced as an angel investor. I can't tell you how better. It's not like 100% of the angels in my community are. I'll declare there's only a couple dozen that I've met that I consider to be serious angels who are performing at a level that can expect performance, a reasonable return, something more than a return of their principal. And I think there's a whole bunch of reasons for that. Gosh, it resolves around. So what I didn't talk about today that I'd prepared a presentation on is how our decisions are dominated by our emotions. So it turns out that our human brain, all the studies say that our human brain is hardwired to really make crappy investment decisions. And so out of all of that research, we can have a conversation about how to allocate the portfolio, why you can mitigate the risk in a total portfolio using alternatives, and how to diversify to achieve that result. And that's, I've studied under 3 Nobel laureates. It's not just picking the cheapest mutual fund or what you think is the hottest stock. It's got nothing to do with that. So yeah, there's a whole story around the best investment decisions, and yeah.
So so an example of what you just described, I think I was misunderstood with my claim. Find somebody to help was not find somebody to help me, find somebody for me to help who is outside however I made my fortune.
Hey, I had a good story anyway.
It was terrific.
You guys, let me intervene here, because otherwise we're not going to finish all the questions we have here.
Okay.
So some people want some now term sheet advice and wanted to ask, what is it you do to protect yourself from future big dilutions?
Yeah,
Can I go first? Go ahead. You go first, Greg.
Okay, so deal terms are the most important things that you and the entrepreneur have to discuss, because it's how you share profits. And that deal term negotiation needs to be pretty well informed and serious. And it's not as simple as saying I've got a note 6% matures at that. No. So the more complex all the instructions are that the more complex you start out at the seed level, angel level investment in your term sheet, the more complex it gets at each round, such that by the final round, you will get crammed down. If you keep it simple, what we found is that it stays pretty simple all the way up. The time you get crammed down is when the risks have overcome the potentials. That is, cash flow has got 31 days left, and you need $5 million. And that's when the VC steps in and invokes the golden rule. Golden rule is he who has the money makes the rules. And the rule is you get 1 cent back as original investors. I get 2x capital return, and you guys are toast. And that's the most fearful position, but it's not caused by the deal term. If you keep your terms simple at the beginning, they'll stay simple all the way up until the business is on the verge of failing.
So my response to that is there's 9 topics in the Entrepreneur Success Series. And every one of those 9 topics has a functional specialist that says, if you don't get this right, you're never going to raise any money. And so there are not 9 answers, there's 1 answer. And the 1 answer is to provide empirical evidence that you're going to get your investors' money back to them at a multiple that's okay with them. That if they don't believe that, nobody's going to write a check.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much on the dot, I would say. You definitely need someone that can show you with hard facts. They've done their homework. They went and researched the market. They understand it. And this is why I come to one thing that we see a lot in the Valley, and it seems to have happened organically. But now to me, in our process, in our accelerator, when we qualify startups, we look for what you call the founder market fit. We always talk about market fit, product fit, and those are true too. But the founder market fit is probably the best assurance we have that that guy will be able to execute and deliver.
Yeah. And it's,
go ahead.
It's the popular journalism would have it be about this or that or that. And the reality is that if you don't have all of your bases well covered in a way that builds Craig's confidence in you, nothing is going to happen.
Yeah. Founder market fit brings a value chain, the knowledge of having contact and understanding how that value chain of that particular segment works. It's pretty much what all of your angel investors part of. They're executives in a segment which they know very well, the whole value chain that which they connect to. So a founder market fit in a startup brings that knowledge. So they have greater chance to produce the evidence, the empirical evidence you just mentioned.
So
let me move on, because this to me answers the next question from Felipe Manso. What would be a fundamental point for making a decision, go, no go? And to me, the founder market fit is one of them.
Yes.
Correct?
But there's the reality is all of the 9 topics. And so every one of those, if you do badly at any one, then you jeopardize all of them. So if you've got if you've got a CEO who is really knowledgeable about his industry, but cannot recruit people because his chief operating officer did all of that, you're not going to find the money you need. You're not going to find the resources. Money is only one of the resources that you need. And so being an investor means looking to see, are all of the other resources that are necessary, are they there too? Or do we have to go buy them? Sorry.
Well, let me move into the VC again, because we got a good question from Leonardo Silva. He wants to know, what would be the major objections from VCs getting into a deal after the angel investment? A number of previous rounds, a polluted cap table, and he wants to learn, have you guys faced a similar situation where your deal did not move forward because of this?
Go, Craig.
Yeah. So the question earlier was how do we prevent ourselves from getting crammed down? Find a business that only needs seed level funding and can go all the way to exit. That I can't think of a better choice. The question here is about how we're going to be able to go through the funding rounds and build the business to an exit level. So in due diligence, if you determine this is a retail product and you need to take it to the retail market, that by definition to me means we need millions of dollars for marketing and distribution. And so that's multiple rounds. And my due diligence stops right there. I wouldn't get into that company. If you're in a position where you need multiple rounds of funding and you think VCs are the best source, you need to be developing those relationships at the beginning, not at the end. You need to have those relationships with the first funding round, at the latest, the second funding round. Those relationships need to be with multiple VCs who are in your industry and are advising you on what they are willing to invest into. What's your requirement to get my money as a VC? How does your company raise to that level?
So my comment is, I got so caught up in Craig's response, I forgot the question. I'm confessing.
Yeah, okay. So they want to know how much, the VCs, when they're looking at an angel investment, the number of rounds, the pollution of the cap table is a determinant for the deal to go forward. And if you have any experience having gone through that, being on a deal which went south because the VCs would not come in because you had a polluted cap table, there are two number of rounds. And I think that what Craig said, which is, to me, is where you position yourself as an angel investor. If you're going to be very early on the seed level, then you're already looking at the exits because that's going to be within the fold before going out to the VC.
So for me, that's part of the selection criteria. If there have been several, I'll just say cursory investment rounds, that creates several threads of uncertainty. And every thread of uncertainty elevates risk of capital. And so that's my thought on that. It gets in the way.
So a question that I had for you guys, Marcelo Munerato is asking, do you see any specific segments coming out strong after we start on the recovery? Which segments would you be looking at right now if you were to invest $1 in the beginning of 2021?
So what I'm investing in retail and services. So there's going to be a radical transformation in how retail works. And it's not just from COVID, but it's from the changing pricing of automobiles. You have to remember that shopping centers, shopping malls, were a radical innovation in 1949, 1950. But why did they get the acceptance? The reason they got the acceptance was suddenly cars became affordable and there were people who had discretionary income. Just exactly the opposite is happening today. It costs, I was just reading an article yesterday about automobiles. The total cost of ownership for an automobile today is beyond the reach of most of the people in the US.
That's an odd number.
But it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it was quite clearly documented, but the total cost of ownership for an automobile, for a new automobile in America, is beyond the means of most people. And so you see elevated levels of debt for stuff that is a depreciating asset. The economics are just nuts.
Well, let me move on. We got some questions. I need you to step here, Orlando. Can we still move on? We got some more questions.
So, Robert, this is what we are going to do. Take one more for each, just one question. The other questions we are going to send through email and get back to the people, okay? Because they are very good questions, and I don't want to expand the time. Otherwise, you know, it's not very good for the people. Okay.
So I'm going to take one at random here, and I'm going to take Ricardo Oliveira's question. So he wants to know, in your opinion, what is the most relevant T of the 6 T's? Team, technology, theme, timing, terms, terrain. I'll repeat. Team, technology, theme, timing, terms, and terrain.
I like the 6 T's.
Yes. All of the above
real
are
cute.
the most important.
If you try and separate that into levels of importance and attribute it to every deal, you'll lose.
Yeah, I think that, you know, my answer to that is, because the question seems to be asking for a silver bullet, and there's no such thing. Silver bullet is just an ideology that doesn't really happen when you're down rubber on the road and trying to execute an early stage company. So there's no such thing. I like your answer, Craig, because to me it's the same thing. It's going to be a combination of T's. You may not have all 6, but you got to have a conversion of the most important happening at the same time, producing value. So no silver bullet for this answer, in my opinion. Dave.
I agree with you and Craig. At the risk of sounding completely new age, I'll say that it's just a question of balance. And that, unfortunately or fortunately, falls into the domain of the responsibilities for a CEO, is to bring together the balance that will carry the business forward. That doesn't mean it's going to be stable, because some of the best leaders ever create a chronic upset. But when that chronic upset or other behavior moves the business forward in terms of satisfying a met or a spoken or unspoken demand in the marketplace, the business will move forward.
And you bring a point that, so we can wrap this thing up. I gave I was pre-recorded, but I was on a panel called CIO Insight Summit, talking to market CIOs in the US, and that was given yesterday. We're talking about business agility. And to answer this question, if I were to say what is always present, is team.
Yes, it's always present.
Execution. And today, execution is turbocharged by the business agility mindset. And the business agility mindset, it relates to people. It relates to how you're able to lead, how you're able to actually have a narrative that helps everyone be transformational. So answering that question, I know one will always be present in those 6 T's. If you don't have them all, it's team.
And that is the key to everything. It sounds like so does Cindy Stoddard, the CIO of Adobe, was she participating in that? So Cindy Stoddard is CIO for Adobe and a longtime client of mine. And we've had many discussions about that and how to bring, how to get members of her team to think about their managers as investors and how do they engage with them as entrepreneurs. So it's...
I want to believe in our accelerator, we are bringing something new that's been there for a long time. It's a methodology for actually developing rapidly a business, which created by Andy Grove, which is OKR, Objectives and Key Results. And then it was applied later on by John Doerr as an investor into Google. You know, he invested $12 million in Google and said, listen, I will invest $12 million only if you follow this methodology, OKR. And OKR, the basis of it is you have all of the metrics and indicators and statistics, but basically it's transparency and accountability, top to bottom. Everyone sees everything. Everyone's accountable for everything. And that's what made Intel, and that's what made Google, and 80% of all startups in the Valley are using OKR today.
So go look and find the companies that John Doerr participated in. So he was, I came to work, when I moved to Silicon Valley in 1978, I came there to work for the first venture-funded software company in Silicon Valley. And the venture capitalist was a guy named Pitts Johnson. And Pitts Johnson and William Draper created venture industry in California. So he was my mentor and fabulous guy. And when I hear Craig, I hear Pitts Johnson. And that was a very long time ago.
All right. So I guess I have to pass on to Orlando. All other questions we will answer over email. We'll make them available. I'll share them with you both, Craig and Dave, and then we'll send them back to Be Our Angels.
Can we put those on LinkedIn or something like that?
I guess so.
No. Wait a minute. Do it on email, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we are going to send through email, guys, to you.
Okay, very good.
So, Robert, thanks. Pessoal, now I'll turn to Portuguese a little bit. Pessoal, a gente está alguns minutinhos aí estourado. Eu queria agradecer demais a presença de todos. Várias perguntas aqui interessantíssimas. Conforme o Robert já falou, nós vamos coletar essas perguntas, vamos colocar num e-mail e vamos enviar aí para os nossos participantes, para o Robert, e mandar as respostas de volta para vocês. Então, não vão ficar sem respostas. Eu queria também aqui reforçar nossos próximos eventos. A gente tem no dia 2 de junho uma plenária para associados only. Então, os associados aí, 2 de junho, no período da noite, são 3 startups já selecionadas. As startups já estão aí na tela. Temos também, não está aqui, mas lembrando, temos a reunião kickoff da Mind Miners, também só para membros internos. Então, se você é membro associado do BR Angels, Mind Miners, dia 4 de junho, o kickoff aí com o nosso Board Advisor, o Vitório, liderando essa reunião, tá bom? 4 de junho, anotem na sua agenda. E também, dia 16 de junho, temos a 16ª plenária, que vai ser aberta a todos os convidados. Então, se você que é membro associado já deve estar na sua agenda, essa do calendário oficial. Se você é convidado, pode colocar na sua agenda. Na pesquisa de satisfação, que a gente já colocou o link aqui, fala que você quer participar e você vai receber o convite da plenária, tá bom? Os recadinhos que eu tinha que dar são esses. I'd like to thank you, Craig and Dave, a lot. It was very insightful. I love the discussion. A lot of information. We could be here like for 5 hours. Very good. And Robert, mainly to you, thanks for being a sponsor of this event. Thank you for all the discussions that we had with our committee, for bringing these 2 very special guests. I'd like to thank you guys and pass to you guys for any final words. Then we can finish the event.
Oh, I'll let the words for Craig and Dave.
I'm excited about the potential of working with a group of people who are anxious to learn, anxious to move forward, anxious to do things that I'm pretty comfortable with. And I'm sure we can both learn a lot working together. That seems very exciting to me. Don't know where that's going exactly, but let's see what we can do to make it happen.
So as is often the case, I just echo what Craig just said. I've had a delightful time. I say thanks to Robert and the BR Angels team. It is very exciting to see this kind of thing beginning to grow from the root that it's already taken. So congratulations for what you're doing. And thanks for the invitation. I can't wait to do it again.
Thank you. Thank you guys again. Stay safe. Thanks for everyone. Obrigado, pessoal. Boa noite a todos. Fiquem bem. Fiquem saudáveis, principalmente. Até a próxima. Obrigado.
Parabéns, Orlando.
Parabéns, muito
Fantastic.
bom. Tchau, tchau.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Bye, all.
Thank you.
Excelente, thank you.
Um abraço, Orlando, e toda a equipe aí, todos os amigos aí. Um abraço.
Muito bom.
Fiquem bem
Parabéns,
todos.
valeu.
Um abraço a todos.
Parabéns, obrigado, abraço a todos.
Mas vai ter um happy hour agora ou não?
Sim, happy hour. Sempre que você fala isso, eu tenho que perguntar onde está o meu vinho da Sociedade da Mesa, e você vai me responder que eu não comprei ainda, então a gente vai ficar nessa discussão.
Muito bem.
Muito bom, pessoal. Estou desconectando aqui. Boa noite a todos.
Boa noite.
Obrigado.
Até mais.
Tchau. Obrigada.